What's up, y'all? It's kind of dope. We can still get people to come out for poetry, right?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of fly. So yeah, like I haven't performed anything since like 2015, and D hit me up like a month and a half ago and was just like, I'm starting this venue and you're gonna be the feature, and I was like, okay, that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna throw some stuff at y'all and we'll see what comes back. Let me just start out by saying that I am no Dr. King, which is why I'm so baffled, because last night I woke up in this pool of perspiration which told me that I too had a dream. Yeah, last night I had a dream, y'all. Last night I dreamed about grabbing the phrase I can't between the I and the C, just to see if I could choke it till the apostrophe T would roll off like so many heads would have, so many urban Afro hip-hop fitted caps and throwbacks would simply throw back the mentality that knowledge and cool cause a conflicting duality like Jekyll versus Hyde. Cause you see too many babies work too hard to hide behind images adopted from the very souls who concocted the miseducation of this Negro, hardly caring to see to it that we grow while watering our seeds in soil contaminated with low self-esteem and no need to dream beyond sleep, so babies sleep. From sunup to sundown, only waking to the baseline beats of Dr. Dre. You can find them in the club with the body full of no self-love, can't love self, trying to mimic the lifestyle of those who front like they got wealth. Frontin' like car notes don't kill pockets, or like the juice that runs through sockets in 16-room mansions causes fame, no stress. I get socially depressed when I see children dressed in names they can't read, so I had a dream. I dreamed about starting this clothing line called Succeed Wear. Children would proudly wear success on their chests, boastfully bragging to their peers about being blessed with that new success shit like Reeboks would be replaced with those new success kicks. We would step in the name of love begins at the point where hate ends. But I am no Dr. King. Despite days of dreaming of days when dreaming would no longer make dreamy days, and everything that I say wouldn't be nullified as a fantasy when this Goliath called life would succumb to slinging stones thrown by the arms of the sons and daughters of this psychic trauma we call slavery. You see, that is what I call bravery. Real revolutionaries like Lumumba and Che, who refused to eat from the plate of politics used to trick the masses, breaking the chains of money's grasping, looking to the past where freedom rang like so many alarm clocks, and everybody felt the love of being conscious. Peace, y'all. Alright, so nerves are kind of, alright. So now we loosen up and we have some fun, right? Yeah. I'm gonna read some stuff that I haven't shared. So just bear with me. How many Trayvons swinging from them trees? Hanging. How many Trayvons swinging from them trees? Hanging. How many Trayvons laid on sidewalks for taking long walks and wrong walks and detours, laying on floors with jaws on pavements, crushed skulls as payments as payback for walking while black with sagging pants on the floor, hats to the back, bullets in their backs, knees in their necks, tasers and techs and billy clubs, stomachs rubbed with cement burns and 9mm stamps. How many Oscar grants get granted, protected, get served? Sit down and don't speak. Speak up, be a man, and learn that death turns the subject into a predicate felon, and execution filters the pollution from this pristine police state and rips the manhood, making man-childs in a land promised not to acknowledge its native sons want the same due process as Columbus's kin. And since when did the neighborhood watch become more than flashlight cops and earn the right to stalk and stop and shoot and kill without being shot? Just shocked at the audacity of this boy to fight for his undervalued life. What is wrong, what is right? The cost of fear engineers homicides justified by grounds that brown boys can't stand on without having guns drawn. Their crime was being born, and my son is born with sins that even Jesus couldn't die away. But Michael Jackson tried, and now we know why he bleached and died for your brown skin and mine. But time doesn't heal these wounds, and soon there will be another sonless mother with her baby's face imprinted on t-shirts and pins, caught in the media spin of liberal or conservative, of Al Sharpton or Rush Limbaugh, of comparisons to Emmett Till, and still she will awaken each day never to see her baby or hear him say I love yous and goodbyes. And before the tears on her face begin to dry, how many Trayvons swinging from the trees? H-A-N-G-I-N-G. How many Trayvons swinging from them trees? H-A-N-G-I-N-G. How many Trayvons laid on sidewalks for taking long walks and wrong walks? That shit was never about a fucking hoodie. Cotton didn't kill that boy, a man did. He could have been butt naked with his arms raised, and like 16-year-old Bobby Hutton, he would still be laid on the sidewalk with holes in his armpits, and the verdict would have been the same injustice. Lethal bullet injections. Trayvon's death row was the path between his home and the corner store. His one-man judge and jury convicted him the day he was conceived. And his appeals and cries for help ran out as he lay bleeding, gasping for humanity, thinking his last thoughts, laying on the ground as lifeless as the candy and the drink he bought just minutes before. How many Trayvons and Oscars will never walk through their doors and kiss the smiling faces waiting, the girlfriends, daughters, mothers, fathers, and brothers who will never feel their embrace? That shit was never about fucking race or political debates. For a family who has to choose between whether to bury or cremate, neither O'Reilly or Dyson can write this empty void of black holes in the souls of black folks. The noose grows tighter. As the tree of America grows higher, the vernaculars look spectacular and their pants get tighter. And yes, one man with one gun will still be inspired to eliminate the pollution from this pristine police state. Fuck a million-man march on Washington. That shit was too late. Hate had already buried generations of Trayvons and Oscars. You can't be 3/5 of something you were never considered to be. Hate had us buried legally, psychologically, financially. Shit. Poverty was designed for you and me, nigga. So now what? Do we sing or do we swing? Do we pull up pants and stop rapping? Do we own or stay owned? What is freedom if you can't afford it? How many Trayvons swinging from them trees? H-A-N-G-I-N-G. How many Trayvons will it be before we see what lies beneath the fear is a bullet with my name and my son's name engraved in its walls? And survival means learning how to not stand tall, how to not run, how to not talk back, how to shut the fuck up, how to not be big and black so that man with or without the badge and the gun cannot be given a single reason to abuse it except one. So dear son, don't resist, little nigga. Don't run. Don't cover your head even as the barrel of their guns bust holes in your cranium. Don't fight. You might just make it out in a coma. Maybe they'll beat your mental shackles free till you be shifting paradigms like Ngoma. Just take it. Fake it till you make it to the ER. Punks live with scars and dead men become scars in biopics. I say punks live with scars and dead men become stars in biopics. Avoid the temptation. Don't be the next nigga laid on the ground at Fruitvale Station. You are the result of the creator's collaboration between me, your mom, and fate. And I would rather you swallow your pride than leave us standing behind your coffin crying because they felt threatened by your presence. Your presence is a weapon. And though I don't want you to be a step and fetch it, it's important that you get it. There are too many Trayvons and Oscars and morgues. So if you're ever walking home from the store, Malcolm, look straight ahead. Keep the drink and the candy where they can see it. Because when you're you, there's no such thing as just being. How many Trayvons swinging from them trees? Peace. I live in a country where dogs have more value than niggas. So fuck Peter. Go figure how a canine has more rights than I do. And then they wonder why we call ourselves dog. Trying to gain some respect in this society that neglects to see me for who I am, where fear is justifiable homicide waiting to happen and standing your ground will get you buried in one. If you look like a rapper, or you look like an African immigrant trying to pull your wallet from your back pocket. profile fulfilling every description of every suspect of every crime. These Charles Bronson death wish 9mm carrying cocksuckers profile 17 years of innocence into the grass, face down with a hole in his underdeveloped chest, a boy screaming for help, looking death in its grisly eyes in the face of a neighborhood watch captain, the new disguise of the flashlight cop, the new disguise of the neighborhood Klansman, the new disguise of the White Citizens Council. I now pronounce you dead. I live in a country where dogs have more value than niggas. Fuck Peter. Go figure how a canine has more rights than I do. And fuck you if you say this is not true. Because you're not me, and you don't see what I see. When I'm dressed in a suit and being followed through Target by a guy who clearly does not have a third of my college degrees, ready to yell freeze on the assumption that I'd spent my well-deserved cheese to steal cheese, because I be fitting all types of descriptions, and suspicions feel so warranted because I've been in the CD section too long and must be planning a heist. A cop stopped me one cold winter night in the subway and demanded that I remove my face mask, and when I asked why, the bastard said, because I might rob someone and all they see is my eyes. And I did it. Because of lessons I had already learned from Emmett. I did it because of lessons already learned from Abner, because I learned years ago that even plungers are indiscriminate when it comes to finding asses to lodge themselves into. And while Volpe may not know me, he feels like he does, and I'm not interested in knowing him back. That's what it means. That's what it means to be black and male, and either you learn those lessons and pass through life or fail, like Trayvon did. You see, I live in a country where dogs have more value than niggas. Fuck Peter. But niggas love dogs more than they love brothers. Where so many mothers of niggas and brothers are praying that the blood of Jesus will cover their offspring during spring and summer, because when that heat come, the bullets all have names on them. Names like Antonio Holloway, engraved all the way to the hollow tips, sold in streets and used by niggas to rip open the chest of their reflections. Nameless niggas, go figure. Pulling triggers and walking free to do it again. Killing their own is not considered a sin, so they be like Zimmerman. A couple shades darker than Zimmerman. And nobody even cares to protest or demand an arrest or demand arrest from the senseless suicidal homicides residing in every black neighborhood in this country. No demands for justice as long as it's just us. Killing just us. And nobody cares and nobody wants to because it's just us. Niggas, not dogs. And no matter how carnal we style from behind, we are not canines. And therefore our lives are not lives at all. I live in a country where dogs have more value than I do. Peace. This is a piece I wrote after my sister got beat up by her boyfriend. He was either right or go to jail. So I wrote instead of going to jail. He's an angry little boy with a temper that used to attract crowds. Fight, fight, fight. The round brown boy is about to kick ass because going home ass kicked will get his ass kicked at home till he kicks ass at home till his wife becomes the mother he couldn't beat at home, angry. Unable to speak his raw emotions, unwilling to handle defeat, hoping to shut her up, beating holes in walls the sizes of big, fat fish. She won't shut the fuck up, bitch, she don't, so he wraps his hands on her throat and chokes till she turns red, eyes popping out, but she ain't dead. And he ain't man enough to finish the job or get one. She beats his arms with limp blows, and he knows that if he don't stop, then the night will be spent with the cops, where real props go to men who commit real crimes, but he ain't ready to do real time, so he lets her up and claims he's standing down, unwilling to take responsibility for why the woman he loves is laying on the ground, bleeding from the lip down. He yells, "You made me do this. You provoked me." While razor-sharp tears leave her eyes, she wants to kill him and nurture his wounded pride at the same time, fighting an internal battle between what she knows is right and the 3 numbers that she wants to dial to make him spend the night, knowing that hurt people, and she refuses to take another lick of his shit, yet she insists that this is love and love is pain and pain is love, and he's just in need of more. Already out the door he is, drowning his guilt and shame in bottles of cheap vodka. feeling more sorry for himself than he is for the bruises on her back. In fact, he doesn't even remember slamming her against the wall or making her fall in the baby's crib. In fact, all he remembers is what she did and how he warned her to shut her mouth, but she defied and defiled him with the words that came out, that he never actually hit her, he just pushed her around, and that makes him a little more than less than a man, saving what's left of his ego and man code. Did she know that he was just an angry little boy with a temper that used to attract crowds, standing around on blue seats, swinging on metal bars while he stood above his victim with bloody cut and bruised knuckles amplified by the chuckles he showed them? And now he shows her what control feels like. You see, it hurts. Control leaves black and blue thumb marks on her biceps and hesitation in her conversation as she selects the perfect phrases to say, and knowing that it's a lose-lose if she don't say the perfect words to cure his insecure and fragile excuse for manhood, so she don't say nothing. While he'd be huffing and puffing like the big bad wolf, and she was his full moon tonight, and she'll be his full moon tomorrow, and in his self-delusion and sorrow, he's unable to borrow enough selflessness to share the blame for the shame he caused himself. You see, flowers don't fix fuck-ups or help her suck up the pains in her neck. This phenomenal woman has swapped the stride in her step with a limp, and he holds his dick hoping to fuck the memory of his slip out of her brains, and she's saying ouch, but the pain is not from his thing. She lays there, legs lifted, playing those surreal scenes in her mind, wondering why and how this man who could make love to her so deep could be as sheep and as foul as the wolf that prey on them. He thinks she's feeling pleasure while she's praying for him, praying that he's not being too hard on himself, praying that he still realizes he's a good man, praying that this will be the last time, knowing that the answer depends on whether she will choose to spend her days with him, being meager, eager to see the end of the road, unsure of whether the dirt path paved will bring more problems untold, recalling what she was told by women who walked this way before. Get up, walk out the door, never look back. As she stands on her feet, watching him snore in his post-climax sleep, reality seeps into her tired limbs, and the voice in her head whispers, what about their kid? That beautiful little girl who's resting in the room next door, who never asked to be in a broken home. That beautiful little girl calls for mommy and daddy, not knowing that daddy is mommy's monster in the closet. That beautiful little girl might be worth a few more licks. That beautiful little girl might be worth her taking more of his hits. That beautiful little girl makes it all worth it. That beautiful little girl, that angry little boy, with a temper that used to attract crowds, who has a hatred that's loud and in silence, so violent and trying to love someone who doesn't even love himself, trying to love someone when he's so depressed that his presence brings stress to anyone in his space, and the blank stare on her face is the discomfort she feels trying to appeal to the defeat. Her pride evidenced in her eyes and not in her tongue, while making him think he runs shit with those fists and those stamps and the sheetrock, and it won't stop. She knows, but goes back for more. Peace. So I just want to go on record saying that if you beating up your lady, you're a pussy. Just put that out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just want to just say that just for record. No, because we don't talk about it. And there's a lot of women who are absorbing a lot of punishment and trying to keep our egos secure, keep us feeling good about ourselves, and taking a lot of punishment and abuse in the process. And it's not okay. And I think as men, we need to look at other men in the eyes and be like, you're a pussy. You hit your girl, you're a pussy. Hit me. And the reality is that most men won't. They won't hit another man. And most of them will leave before any police or anything else show up. Why? Because they're aware of what they're doing, they don't want to get caught. It means you're conscious of what you're doing, which makes you more of a pussy. So we need to stop it. And it's happening more often than we think. And it's happening between people that we would never suspect. And we're looking at folks and thinking it's sweet, it's not. So fellas, if this is speaking to you, if I'm talking to you, if you're the pussy I'm talking to, man up. Man the fuck up. And last part. Last part. Standing up and fighting goes way way beyond reciting prose and poems. So while the complacent complain, I'm at home contemplating and thinking about trying to awaken a nation of black zombies, you silent sleepers with two-way cell phones and beepers stuck on yellow buses like jeepers, creepers, screamers too loud to listen and too rowdy to read. I find myself getting tired to lead you. Blonde weed wearing, hip-hop blaring, blinded, closed-minded, claiming you got high self-esteem. You measure your worth by the color green while them boys in blue got your sons wearing orange jumpsuits because loot is more attractive than literacy, literally. And living proactive takes the calm out of living passive, so our leaders lose sleep, slaving for slaves like you and me, while the us and we takes a backseat to the I and you would rather get rich by selling your soul than just saying no like Dave Chappelle. Plus, Africa is hot as hell, so you yell yes to nonsense, niggas, and senseless violence at the climax of our history, so we don't die with glory, we die mostly over bullshit, so you could give the hood stories of going out like Pacino with scarred faces and minds wasted instead of being invested in freedom, turning the other cheek and getting beat on both sides by the masters of the skies, juggling our vision while making incisions into our culture, while you call yourself the hard body, the breadwinner working 9 to 5, your daughter rides 8 to 10, between 8 and 10, your son has had more erections than books, and his IQ is often mistook to be his age, and you say it's okay, but complain when the chips don't fall your way, so I say, there's a war in the streets tonight, and nobody's really feeling alright. I got a blood for my chronic, a juice for my tonic. I know now that I'm feeling right if it goes down. 'Cause my third eye sees the low down, and I know it's not my time to go down. 'Cause God's got my back in this showdown. And so I know we'll be alright. Standing up and fighting goes way beyond reciting prose and poems, homes, and sitting home solid watching C-SPAN might be great motivation for you modern day Langstons, but I would rather swim rivers than speak of them in a time when words without action give some satisfaction. I find myself yearning to sketch blueprints for black power and black love with Amos and Nancy Wilson, while you label yourselves lovers with no use for self or the reflections of self and them brothers whose lives you cancel, or them sisters whose strength you rob, while she be out there working 3 jobs that you say the man won't let you have. All the while penetration is the motivation beneath your head wrap. In fact, when it's time to stand strong, you sit back, wrapped in a selfish cloak, angry at accountability and paternity results, choking the culture with pulp fiction and unprotected sex addictions like Eric Benet. But like my man say, there's a war in the streets tonight, and you be like so many niggas on the turnpike, pimping and profiling like it's alright, crossing bridges for cheesecake, but rejecting the urge to break through that glass ceiling, still preaching that the pole life ain't appealing, while Eminem be stealing your milk chocolate status flow. White boys throwing up black fists, it's time to act like y'all know. If you're not first class, you coach. If you're not rich, nigga, you broke. And whether you're jailed or being roped, you're being choked, cause a lynching is still a lynching. So soap will not clean history's dirt, or the smirk on Willie Lynch's face when he looks up from hell to see the state of the black union. Cause there's a war in the streets tonight, and nobody's really feeling alright. I got a blood for my chronic, a juice for my tonic. I know now that I'm feeling right if it goes down. 'Cause my third eye sees the low down, and I know it's not my time to go down. Plus God's got my back in this showdown, and so I know we'll be alright.